Miss Rebecca Hall, Director at RJ Hall Consultancy. Welcome, Miss Rebecca. Miss Rebecca? Ah, there you are. Next up, we have Miss Rawan Abdel Nour, Legal and Compliance Advisor at Ghurair Group. Miss Shruti Jobanputra, Founder and CEO at Sharav Enterprise. And last but not least, Miss Henzie Healley, Managing Partner for the Counsel Services Limited. Okay. Do we have 4 microphones, ladies? I'll get you 2 more. Can we get 2 more microphones, please? All right. So please be mindful of the timer and yes, if you could leave the last 10 minutes for questions from the audience so we don't run behind schedule. Thank you.
Are we good to go? Testing, testing. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Rebecca Hall. I am the director of RJ Hall Consultancy, whereby I'm connecting the UAE to Africa in finance, tech, and law. I'll be the moderator today for this panel for climbing the corporate ladder within women in finance and law. So very swiftly, I'm just going to move on and properly introduce our speakers and our panelists today. So firstly, I will start with Rawan Abdel Nour, who is an affable and amicable legal professional demonstrating 14 years of robust and vigorous experience. She has a bachelor's degree in law from the University of Jordan, certifications in CCEP in compliance, finance for non-finance, anti-money laundering, chartered institute insurance. The list really does go on. And here I see that you have had quite some experience in training and being a life coach also. Rawan is currently the active legal compliance advisor for Ghurair Group. So welcome.
Thank you, Rebecca. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having this chance to talk briefly about ourselves. I think Rebecca, she provided a small brief regarding my bio. I graduated from Jordan University. I am originally from Jordan. I have a degree in law. After that, we have a training. Then I get my bar. After getting my bar, I worked in several constitutions like law firm, governmental authorities, semi-governmental, public listed company, LLC company. I am currently working as legal compliance advisor as well, board secretary for Ghurair Group. It's family business, LLC company. I am enjoying my work for this company. It is every day there is a new challenge, you know, in the legal department and in my life, because we have to make balance between our family as well our work. This is a small brief about myself. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Then secondly, I'm going to move on to Shruti Jobanputra. Shruti is from India, and she operates within the finance industry, who has faced and overcome a number of challenges throughout her professional career through sheer hard work and determinations with a very much, viewed winner's mentality. Shruti has been in investment and trading in capital markets within different asset classes. She is proud to be associated with the FICCI Ladies Organization, also known as FLO, and this is in India, and she's also an esteemed member of venture capital firms working within the startup space. Shruti is also a certified mentor and coach in financial planning and wealth management. So welcome today, Shruti.
Good morning, ladies and Good morning, everyone. It's been really eventful and very, very knowledge-enriching 3 days, engaging with so many wonderful people, wonderful leaders, and exchanging everybody's views. So I am a qualified MBA in HR and finance. I started my journey with as an HR executive with a group of schools back in India, and went on to take the role of a facilitator to the managing trustee, and carried on that role for a good number of years. Then I took a sabbatical and wanted to play a role of a mother, be with my children, be with my family. Because back in India, we feel this is very important. We need to balance our family and professional lives equally, and we tend to give a lot of importance to being and playing a mother's role, which does not have a salary, but it is a very high-paying job. And then I switched my career, and I always had a calling for finance, and I always wanted to look into that direction and head into that direction. So I started with my journey and learned and took up certifications in my financial trading, capital markets, and started trading. So I've been doing it since past 10, 12 years. And I started my consulting firm 3 years back, and then COVID hit. So it really put out a lot of challenges with being locked up in the house with all the family members having so many health challenges, and still being able to steer those challenges, overcoming the roadblocks, and helping your own self pivot your career. And that is my aim, to also help other women do that and realize the importance, why they need to do that. Being financially independent is very important for women, not only being independent, but being able to manage that money well. You don't need to depend on others to do that. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And actually mentioning COVID, it's going to make for quite an interesting discussion today, because not only are we looking at how the industries have been shifting over the years, but this one hit us without us even knowing it. So I'm sure that's really going to affect your experiences going forward.
Absolutely, Rebecca.
Thank you so much, Shruti. And finally, we have Henzie Healley. So Henzie is an accomplished and skilled common law qualified lawyer living in the UAE, but servicing clients from all around the world. She studied business management in Canada before going on to study law in New Zealand. Henzie is qualified with an LLB with honours in New Zealand, and she was admitted as a barrister and solicitor of the High Court of New Zealand in 2014. Amazing. So today, Henzie is a corporate commercial lawyer. She has 17 senior legal consultants as part of her team. And like I mentioned, she is servicing her clients from all around the world. So welcome today, Henzie. It's really nice to have you here.
Thanks, Rebecca.
So, yeah, I mean, just as the other two have, it'd be nice if you could just give us a little background into a bit more of your life and your family setting and so on growing up.
Of course. So my name is Henzie, as Rebecca said, and I'm managing partner of a corporate commercial firm in the UAE called the Counsel services. We established in 2019, but we've recently rebranded. So TCS is a new brand, but not a new firm. And we have 17 senior legal consultants, all areas of law. And I would love to go on and promote it more and more, but I think it speaks for itself at this point in time. So.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so we've introduced all of our panelists today. So off the back of you kind of giving us a bit of an introduction about yourselves, your family, and your journey to leadership, I'd like to just dive straight in and just highlight what are the main challenges that you would say you have faced throughout these, climbing this corporate ladder in your career. We have some of you in finance and some in law, so I'd just kind of like to know how that differs for you as females in this industry. So we'll start with you, Nour.
Hello. Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you so much again, Rebecca. We have, I think, women especially have a lot of challenges because the main challenge is to make balance between the family as well between her career. There is also challenges in the career itself for climbing up the ladder itself because, you know, there is woman, there is gender, there is woman, there is men. And all the time, maybe some people prefer men to be in, I'm not racist or against anyone, but some jobs like law or maybe finance or doctors, some people, they prefer to go to a lawyer, male, not female, or to a doctor, male and not female. They think he has better expertise than women. But I think through, I am talking about myself and maybe women in general, through our journey from graduation itself, because law it's not easy like medicine or like engineering or like finance. It will be not easy to graduate with good score from university. It will not be easy to have the bar. You have several steps to have your bar. It will not be easy to find a good job in a good law firm. Then from that area to climb the ladder slowly and challenge the men in this regard. I remember my father used to tell me, I don't want you to be a lawyer. I told him why. He told me because it's not easy job. How you will balance between your family when you get married and you will be in law firm for long hours. I told him I like it. I don't like to study something I dislike. I have passion in this professional. Until now I have this passion. I am trying my best to balance between my job and my family life. Thank you.
Okay, so would you say that, you know, you still went down that path, you decided to study that, so would you say that your passion kind of developed over time? So as a female leader in this industry, it's kind of adjusted over the way?
Yeah, you have to make the balance by yourself. You have to be organized. You have to organize your family, your home, your work, your children. I think even most of the working women are so organized because it's not easy to, as I said before, to make balance between family and between the work itself. You are working minimum till 5 or 6 o'clock and you come back home, you teach the children, you cook, you do the house chore. It will not be easy. So you have to organize your children that, and your family has to understand that you are a professional woman. This is very good for you. I didn't graduate just to sit at home and to do house chores. I would like to carry on. And the children has to understand, and your husband also has to be very helpful to you. Like my husband, thanks God, he's been very helpful to me, to encourage you. Mm-hmm. The children and the husband and the family has to encourage the woman in order to go and climb this ladder. Otherwise, without this support, you cannot do anything, my dear.
Sure, yeah. So I was actually going to ask sort of what encouraged you to kind of overcome that change of heart, whether you were going to go down that road or not. So yeah, like what kind of gave you that shift and motivated you, actually I am going to do this, and also be the driver behind my family as well?
I think my father in the beginning, and you know my mother also, because the family and the parents, when you are single and when you are at their home, they will be very supportive to you when they see you grow up and you graduate from a good reputable university and you attend the bar and you are working in a good law firm and it's good industry, even though you challenge, because it will make you strong. What's not killing you, it makes you strong. Then when I get married also, thanks God, my husband is supportive to me, and I organize my children. Now when they see me work, oh, she have work. They need to have laptops so they can work also. Even though they are small, I think they understand. And to make value to yourself also, to be valuable. Profession is you will be valuable and independent emotionally and independent financially.
Amazing. So you're also actually leading by example and sort of paving the way for your children also. Yeah. Okay, amazing. Thanks, Rawan. So Shruti, I'd like to direct that over to you. If you could just give me perhaps maybe 3 of your main key challenges and how that's differed for you as a female in leadership.
So I can speak for myself from the point of view from the country I'm coming. So in India, or in the Indian subcontinent, what I have seen is from the very childhood, women or the girls are trained that they need to be softer, hence not go in for such challenging careers because somewhere they have made to believe these are not roles cut out for them. They need to go into roles which are more softer, more homelier, and more women-centric. So I kind of wanted to break that mold, and I have been surrounded, thankfully, by strong women, my mom, my grandmom, and I have seen them do things their way. My mom was always an independent woman, and that's how I grew up seeing, you know, I drew a lot of inspiration from them. And I made it very clear, my father was not, again, to say, being in a male-dominated country, not very happy with the choices I made as a career. But I made it very clear, I'm going to do this. And as Rawan said, I also set examples for my sons. You know, I have 2 sons, I don't have daughters, but I want them to respect women and to be able to give them equal and fair chances. I don't want them to, so the change starts at home, you know, you lead by giving example, you set roles for them. For them, it should not be that this part of work is only for women and that is for men. It should not be defined. So that's where the change starts, you know.
Amazing. So you were almost acting as a disruptor to the traditional ways and
we need to break the ice. We need to break the ceiling, you know, to take it to the next level.
And I can imagine that once you did do that and your father could see that you were actually...
Oh, he actually appreciates,
very proud,
he's
right?
very proud of what I have achieved now.
Yeah.
He really feels that he was wrong. He does accept that, and that's very big for me. And
I wouldn't call it he was wrong. I think it was teaching him and giving him a different perspective.
It made him kind of aware of what women can do and achieve as his daughters. He could see that she's much stronger than what he anticipated me to be. And yeah, we women are not emotional and fools, and we don't need to cow down. We are very strong. And we kind of have seen and been able to multitask and do multiple roles at one time, you know, which I feel that's what makes us better managers and leaders, you know. I'm not being biased, I'm sorry, men out here, but we are much stronger in that sense.
Okay, amazing. Thanks for sharing that with us. And we'll move on to Henzie. You know the question.
Same question. I'm usually the wild card when it comes to these panels because I definitely don't disregard what any other woman has gone through. I know that a lot of women have struggled climbing the corporate ladder and growing or making their way within the corporate world, but personally I've never felt my gender to be a hindrance to my success. I've always actually found that being a woman in law is a benefit.
You've been a lucky few, I guess.
But women, like, what I'm finding is women are more supportive of women these days. So
yes, absolutely.
when I say that, I don't mean to downplay what anyone has gone through, but I hope that everyone will kind of be happy for me as we all have been happy for each other, right?
So enlighten me a little bit more about that. How did that differ then for you? Because I'm sure you kind of understand what the norm has been over the years for the challenges that women have, and you actually saw that as more of an advantage from your point of view. So how did that differ, and maybe these are tips and tools that people can take away from this today?
Look, honestly, if you're asking me, I would just say it's by God's grace. I would just say that you know, how things happened, we're just left to him. But having said that, I mean, I have asked clients before, you know, why they want to because we have a team of 17 senior legal consultants. 10 of those are women. And so we have clients that prefer to work with our women lawyers, and they actually request them. So I've asked clients before and said, you know, why do you guys prefer this? And again, this is not everyone's point of view, but some of the answers that I've gotten is we get more emotionally involved, which means that we fight harder for the cause. We tend to think of things in a different way. You know, if we are younger, then that means we're also thinking outside of the box and not in the traditional way of thinking. And that's just to name two, but I've gotten various other answers. Nothing inappropriate, but yeah, I really do think that it's just about awareness, really.
Okay, amazing. And I think you've shared, you know, through those 2 points alone, some pointers that maybe aren't just applicable to women in terms of encouraging them to utilize, you know, empathy, their emotions, and having that passion. And maybe that's something that could be shared to men in the workplace as well, you know, drawing into those spaces. So that kind of helps me to kind of shift this conversation onto inclusiveness in the workplace. You know, we know industries, as you guys have mentioned here from your stories and the traditions from the countries that you're from, that industries such as, you know, law and finance have traditionally been viewed as a very male-dominated industry. So we've heard from your personal experience, but in general, how would you say that this has altered over the years to become less male-dominated? You know, I want to kind of get an understanding of the shift as an industry, and I think I'd like Henzie to lead that one.
So how it's shifted over the years. I mean, I certainly cannot say how it's happened, but I have seen more female lawyers than what I had seen 8 years ago, right, when I first moved to Dubai, for example. I was lucky to join a firm where the managing partner was a woman, so there was a strong female figurehead to begin with. But again, I've seen the positive side of it because we've just gotten a whole bunch of really good women lawyers that have approached us to join our team. So again, by God's grace. So I don't know if I'm the right person to answer that because my viewpoint tends to be quite closed and biased.
So, I mean, so we, you know, at the end of the day, this is your personal experience and what you've viewed, so we can touch on that. Would you say that the fact that, you know, you said the managing director was a female, so would you say that had an influence on, you know, her talent selection, or would you say that it made absolutely no difference and perhaps maybe it meant that you had higher expectations set of you?
So initially, I'd just like to clarify, I mean, throughout my entire legal career, I've had support from both men and women. Mm-hmm. So I've had great female lawyer mentors and the same thing with male lawyers. So there was always people that were willing to help and willing to guide. Mm-hmm. And I think it's more so about if you treat people with respect and they will give that back to you, regardless of whether they're male or female or whatever, so.
Okay, great. And Rawan, I'd like to hear from you on that point of view. Just to reiterate, I just want to get an understanding of how you feel the shift has come about within, you know, these industries over the years.
I think now everything is shifted. Why? Because Sheikh Mohammed, God bless him, and so many presidents of so many countries are encouraging women leadership. I am part of compliance and I do awareness session for code of conduct, like diversity, like racism. We need diversity in the board. We need diversity in our legal department. We need diversity in all the departments of the company or organizations. As well, Sheikh Mohammed is trying to encourage women leadership by putting women on boards and give them the weapon, which is education, which is leadership, which is certificates, what they can do, especially here, Emirati women. I am seeing a lot of Emirati women now like a minister, like in the police, lawyers, doctors, lot of women are becoming more leaders. Because we have tone of the top, and tone of the top is the president of the country, the president of Dubai. As well, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, the president of UAE, is doing the same, and Sheikh Fatma as well. So in Jordan also, Queen Rania is our lead of example. Also, she's encouraging women, especially in the poor places, to become financially independent, to help her family, to help her husband, to help her children, to generate more revenue. So being out of this part in GCC and Jordan, I am seeing more and more women are climbing the ladder. Even so, it's the first step, because, you know, not all women are educated. Maybe even some countries are helping the uneducated people or uneducated women to become more educated, to enhance them, to give them something to do useful in their life in order to be valuable in this country or valuable to their family.
Amazing. I like what you're saying here. So what you're actually just kind of like reiterate is saying, in a country or a region which not only have these industries been more male-dominated, but as a country itself has been very male-dominated, we have now had a shift over the years where initiatives are being put in place to empower women, to educate women who traditionally didn't get those opportunities, and this is being set forth by the leaders of the country to ensure that they can really show the other companies that are looking up to them, they are the trendsetters, that these are the things that should be set in place. So when we talk about inclusiveness, we're seeing it trickle down right from the top. And like you say, giving that education to those who may not have had it, you can really start to see where the impact is applied, right?
Yes.
That's a really nice point, actually, to touch upon. Okay, great, thank you. And what would you like to say? Anything to add to that?
Well, I would only say that we need to realize and recognize the value which a woman can bring to the table, and have been able to sustain their own kind of self-worth and the confidence which they have while they are coming up in their career. And I would also say that how other women can help women to handhold and stifle their struggles and rise them above the roadblocks which they face. You know?
Sure. I mean, absolutely. And, you know, just on that topic and encouraging women to be more confident, the fact that, you know, in this GCC region at least, we're having this encouraged by the leaders, etc. However, you know, we probably have people here that are from other parts of the world outside of the GCC region, or at least are servicing clients where we probably know that it's not always the same that's being applied or encouraged per se.
Yeah.
So, you know, would you say that globally, as we all know that we are striving to be more inclusive, would you say that all companies are starting to try and make more of an effort towards kind of including women in more leadership positions, board positions, etc.?
Yes, so I can say for my country that there are certain rules which are being laid down by government itself, that any organization, maybe if it's a small one, at least one woman on the board. So that's a very good initiative to be able to give a woman the role which makes her see the whole perception of working in a different light, and gives her more confidence that she can take challenging roles and be able to bring demographic change in every sense. And also there are a number of other things that government is doing as in to bring in more inclusivity in every way, equal pay like we are all talking about, and you know, but still I feel there is a lot of groundwork left. The percentage is very minuscule, so we need to have that percentage increasing. So
absolutely, and you mentioned a key term there, demographic change, and we do notice that, you know, there'll be more companies that will say we have at least one female board member, or at least 5 females that are in C-suite positions.
Yes.
How would you say that you can identify whether it's a company that's ticking a box to fulfill those criteria?
Yeah, so that's why I said a lot of groundwork needs to be done. We need to review the systems which we've put into place, the policies which are being adhered to or not, and be able to have that change in physicality rather than just on paper, because at times we see it's just mentioned on paper. She's not given equity also. It's just there for the name's sake. I think that needs to change, you know. She is, you know, equally liable to have a good equity in the shareholding of the company, for decision making to be able to bring that value and change in the vote of confidence for the board members. And yeah, I feel that helps a lot.
Yeah, it's very interesting as well, because I find that if we have, even if it is a tick box, the fact that we have somebody there at the top, you know, in a board position, in a very senior position, that is able to then make the change, we almost look to them as it's your chance to make a difference.
Yeah, and I feel
it's
more to for the women also to be able to made heard, you know. I mean, her voice, whatever she speaks and she brings to the table, needs to be listened to and to be made.
Absolutely. No, I agree with that. And I think that comes down to introvert, extrovert, people that like to go against the grain, people that like to really stand out and prove themselves. And I noticed that a lot in you, Henzie, very strong within your position as well. So I'd like to just gain a bit of insight from you as well on that point of view. You know, and also I'd like to drop in there, you know, have you ever had a mentor or been a mentor to people from your senior position where there's a chance to actually start to implement those changes?
So, Rebecca, if I may just add, like I completely agree with Shruti about having women in those positions and having them heard, because I mean, look, at the end of the day, men think a certain way, women think a certain way, and we need to represent both sides if women in the workforce are growing, right? Like Rawan was saying, like there's more and more coming in and it's being encouraged. So then, as Shruti was saying, that needs to be represented on the board and by women. And both sides, like we should be actually embracing those different viewpoints and seeing it more as a puzzle that's being put together as opposed to opposing
a collaborative
viewpoints.
Approach.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Like more so both sides filling in the gaps.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then, sorry, your second
so,
question,
yeah,
your
I
actual
mean,
question was
I suppose
mentoring.
I was potentially leading you into an answer there, but you know, I personally think having a mentor or being a mentor when you are in that position with a character that isn't afraid to kind of say, put their foot down and say, these are the things we need to incorporate, can really make a difference. And I know yourself, who's very strong within your position, you're very outgoing and you say whatever's on your mind, just from getting to know you even, which I absolutely love. You know, would you say that can make a difference in mentorship? And that doesn't have to be like a one-on-one. It could actually just be that you're the only person that's happy to speak out on behalf of what everybody else is thinking, and therefore you're acting as a mentor to everyone, men and women included within that board.
So I think as women we need to band together, right? Like one person is not very strong by themselves, but if we all actually do something as a collective, then that's how change happens. With regards to mentoring, I think none of us are ever perfect. We always have more that we can learn, right? The smartest person in the world only had, I think, 5% of all knowledge. So I think it's more so about encouraging and mentoring each other, right? Like I learned stuff today from Rawan and from you and from Shruti, and maybe hopefully it was the same other way around. So I think mentoring, especially within our team at the council services, we work as a team.
Sure.
So we all kind of mentor each other, and everyone brings a viewpoint if they think we can do something better, or so.
So, I mean, just to give some better insight for our audience today as well, you know, we say mentoring, being more collective, etc. Let's give some value and takeaways to people that are here. What are some of the things that you feel may need to be done to actually affect that change, specifically, you know?
Affect the changes that are being suggested as a collective?
Yeah, so, you know, like, as a collective, what are some of those things, whether it's teamwork, whether it's, or you know, building workshops in relationship management within the company, whether you're having a company day out, a fun day where you're getting to know each other, something like that. Like, what are the takeaways that they could have more specifically to understand how to start to collectively make that change in their organizations?
So I really do think it depends from business to business, but I think it's very important the type of culture that you impose within a business, and that comes from the top down. Mm-hmm. So you have to be the example, and I'm not saying that I'm a perfect example. We're all always learning, right? But within our team, we look for a certain personality. Like everyone has to be harmonious. Like there's no competition. We're all working as a team. So we really do promote that as the internal culture, and that's created a very nice work environment for everyone.
Okay, amazing.
I want to say a comment, my dear. I think building relationship in a workplace is very important. Yeah. For example, if you build relationship in legal department or HR or whatever department, so people will know, or your colleagues or your followers will know you better. You will make, sometimes you face challenges when you are new in your workplace. Oh, she's coming, she has this degree, oh, she will be better than us, she will be this, she will be that, she's more confident than us, she will take more salary, you know, some jealousy. I am talking in, not my organization, I'm talking in general. So you will find jealousy, you will find envy, you will find so many challenges in the workplace in all countries you go. So you have to build good relationship between your followers, and this happened by experience and by time. It's not from the first day. When you have teamwork or you are working in a project, they will know you better. You have to sacrifice. You have to give time to other people. You have to give your point of view. Also, if they don't know, you have to give them confidence. Once in Jordan, I worked with a male lawyer. He's junior lawyer. Oh, I don't know this, I don't know that. I told him, don't say I don't know. I will know, no problem. I will not teach you, I will help you or give you the tips in order to know and understand, and you have to take the lead. And he did it. So it's nice to help and encourage with your commitment, with your accuracy at work, with your commitment to your work, everything, with teamwork as well, everything will be encouraged and will be all good.
So I like what you said there about, you know, when you're entering into a workplace, some people may feel threatened by you once they look at your credentials, or they see that you can walk in with all the confidence to a brand new company and you're so excited to get going, and then all of a sudden you don't get the support you think you want because people are threatened, right? So I think that for both men and women that can be quite a common thing that happens, and especially within the industry of finance and law, and from a personal experience, finance is very competitive in some areas, especially within wealth management and sales. So you get that real sports mentality, and as a woman, you're entering into that, and you're either, as they say, go hard or go home. So how would you say that you can maybe address that when walking into a new team or a new workplace or environment? Because you don't want to change who you are, but you do want to be able to be welcomed, and if you can identify that people are seeing you as a threat, how do you take that information and flip it?
I think, first of all, you have to understand the people working with you. Their mindset, what they like, what they dislike. When you are working in a project with your colleagues, you will understand their point of view. And you have to encourage also. their strengths and don't look at their weaknesses. All the time you have to encourage, whatever. Then after that, when they see you like a team leader or a team worker, they will come to you and even they will talk to you about their personal life or their family life in the end. You will build a good, strong relationship with them in the end. If, for example, if one of your colleagues get late, you don't have to go to your manager and tell him, oh, this lady or that, he get late or she get late. You have to ask, oh, excuse me, are you okay? Anything happened with you? Then maybe there is accident, God forbid, in the road, or there is delay in her son or daughter's school, or anything to the car happened, or she's sick, or you don't know what is the circumstances. So in order to understand, you have to build an emotional, good relationship, and by time, by circumstances, you will understand each other and you will be supportive to each other.
Very interesting. And on that topic, we're talking about entering a new team, entering a workplace, especially in a very stringent industry such as finance and law. Now, I'd like to ask the same question, but from the management position, or being the boss, being in that C-suite position. Sometimes as a woman in finance or in law, when you're really at the top and you've got serious responsibilities, you have to make certain decisions that other people may not like. So when you've put in the efforts to build relationships with your team and your colleagues, and it's all happy days at that point, but then now, from a business point of view, you've had to make a certain decision that people may not like. Then there's a disconnect, and people use the personal relationship to come at you about something professionally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do you separate that at that point in time without coming across as somebody that is disregarding the relationship but trying to do something for the cause of the business? You get where I'm going with this.
Yeah. So I know that because I know where it comes from. I have been in that position, and several times there have been times when I did have to take such stringent calls, such harsh decisions, but because we're looking at the overall betterment of the organization, there are other people who are also working there for the betterment of the organization at large. So we have to put that across to the person or to the team, why the changes are happening and how it will impact them in a very mindful way, And that happens when, as a team leader, you have that kind of bonding and relationship with the team. You are able to put your message across, and it is not taken otherwise. And sometimes if it is, so be it. I mean, when you're at the top, it's lonely out there.
That was a really nice response.
My dear, I want to say a comment. I think sometimes you have to be firm also. Okay, you have to have flexibility, emotional, but sometimes you have to be firm in some decisions because you cannot delay. For example, in law, if you want to submit to the court letter or any document, there is timeline, there is deadlines. So you have to be firm with your team. We have deadline, we have to reach this deadline. We cannot overcome of this deadline, otherwise the case will be dismissed, for example. You have to be committed also. You have to build this commitment in your team. You have to be firm. Okay, I understand your personal aspect. I understand that you have family life, but you have to do the organization and the balance. I am giving salary because you come here to work. You have to understand the workplace, and you have to be a part of this team. There is commitment. You are not going, to a kindergarten, or you are not going to play. This is a job in the end.
Absolutely. So whether you're looking at it from Shruti's approach, which is, you have that relationship, you have a bond. When it's time to apply discipline, the effect is there. You should be able to recover because you have a good relationship,
That shows that how you are as a leader, especially when you're a woman, you're displaying those skills, those talents, that value you add to your organization by sticking to your ethics for the company, for the betterment of the larger.
Absolutely. So, you know, that's one aspect of handling it. And Rawan, you have more, you know, the other counter view of, at the end of the day, especially within an industry like law, regardless of your feelings right now, this is how things are supposed to be. You know, we have deadlines, you know, and once that's passed, there's nothing we can do, etc. So let's say we have conflict from it. Some people may not like it. Some people are okay with it. Henzie, how would you say recovering from that situation, you know, how would you say, or what sort of advice would you give in terms of coming back out of that? Because just like in a football match, your teammates, you love each other. But in a game, match day, you might scream at each other on the pitch, but when you're back off the pitch, that's all out the window, you're back to love. So how do we apply that in this kind of setting?
Look, I think when you give people that environment to work in that you're talking about with relationships, then they also have to, that comes with a certain level of accountability. So people have to know that, okay, yes, we might be friends or we might have a good relationship, but work is work, and we have to do what we have to do. So if you start abusing that, then I'm sorry, it goes away. So as, like, you always still have to think as a business, like at the end of the day, but like Rawan was saying, you communicate it to the team, and like Shruti was saying, you try and find a solution that works, but at the end of the day, you still have to make that decision for the business.
I like what you say there in terms of, you know, it's almost like, you forgive and you forget, as they say, but sometimes we don't forget. But it's like putting certain things in a box. So you are mindful of, you know, having those experiences with different members of your team. And I've told you before, now if I feel like you're abusing that, that goes away until you've kind of earned my trust to be able to reinstill that. So maybe that's a bit of a tip and a tool that as men and women, we can kind of take away from what all three of you have shared with us today. So I appreciate that. I'm very conscious of time, and I really want to get into the discussion within our last 5 minutes on the fact that over these last, 10 to 15 years, we've been shifting more into a digital space. And therefore, as women trying to climb the corporate ladder within finance and law, we have had a very traditional set way of achieving and reaching certain KPIs that allows for you to get a promotion or, to climb that corporate ladder. But we've now shifted into that space of fintech, legal tech, smart contracts, all things becoming digital. And I have witnessed from being in the L&D aspect of finance and law that it's actually had a bit of a shift in terms of how we then achieve our KPIs. Creates more challenges, more qualifications. And as you guys have heard from the introductions to our three speakers today, they're very well educated women. They are constantly thriving to better themselves from their professional careers. So with that in mind, the shift has gone into that digital space. Some of you may have been used to a more traditional way of climbing the corporate ladder, and some of you may have only known the digital shift or been a part of that transition. So can you describe a little bit more of that? And Shruti, I see you're eager for this one, so I'm going to give it to you.
So I have seen both the phases, having started at a very young age when I was a college goer, and computers weren't a thing back then. So when the shift started happening after 2005, 2006, suddenly internet became the thing, smartphones started coming on the scenario, and you are constantly, as Henzie said, you need to be able to be learnable, lifelong learner. So that's what my principles of life have been. You should constantly keep on evolving yourself and learning from other spaces and other people around you. And I feel women have come a long way, and they have been adapting to the new changes to the digital world. You see a lot of women techs out there, and they are adapting so well such challenging roles. and you see women in NASA. So
we embrace it all.
yeah, we have embraced it with open arms. And I really go, so my go-to person to learn anything new in tech is my son, because he's learning that. And I keep on, like, you know, irritating him as he says, Mom, you don't know this. I'm like, please, I want to learn. You got to teach me, you know.
So that actually adds as a testament to what I was saying about you all always being, you know, focused on self-improving. You have to make a conscious effort to become adaptable. Otherwise, you get left behind, as with anybody, you know, in the industry as we shift over.
If you want to be inclusive, you need to adapt to the new changes around you, because change is the only constant, as they say.
Henzie, I feel like you were going to jump in. Yeah, go for it.
This makes me so excited. I love legal tech. I love, like, fintech. I love it all. And I think there's so much that can be embraced in terms of, you know, how, what's the word I'm looking for? Efficiency. I'm getting so excited about the topic. About efficiency, you know, with automation, and there's so many cool applications and things that we can build and embrace as a law firm, and how we run it to actually increase efficiency. And we're entirely virtual as well. So technology, all of it, we incorporate as much as we can.
Amazing. So last minute that we have, I want to give you roughly 30 seconds each, or 20 seconds each, to just give me a bit of advice, any tips and tools, so that we can then round this up, and anybody else that may want to ask. Actually, as a matter of fact, do we have anybody in the audience that wants to ask some questions? Oh, we've got lots of people. Quickly, jump out.
We wouldn't have liked if you wouldn't have asked.
We can go outside as well if we're running out of time. We can all meet out there.
Yeah, we need some men empowerment to talk. Yeah, so
Absolutely.
So I have three things: comment, advice, and a question. So the first comment, actually, I believe that we passed the thing about, you know, equality. Halas, that's history. Men and women are equal in all, and anybody who's talking about this, at least that will be considered unethical and could be considered illegal. So that's behind for so far. The advice is always, you know, when it comes to women, it's about qualification. So you don't need empowerment. You have enough power. Don't wait someone to give you the power. You have it. And the question to you is, sometimes when you talked about actually boards, here in UAE, for example, part of the best governance is to have 1/3 of the board females. But till now, there is a struggle in appointing females. So what's needed for females to take it up to the next step of executive levels, board membership, and similar? You have the board, but it's always about you. So what's needed actually to take it? And I'll give you an example. In KSA, we are fully now appointing, you know, females. Yeah, I just appointed a female Saudi lawyer. I'm really proud about that. But we are looking actually for board members, females with who has digital, let's say, background, who can sit and have the knowledge to sit on the board. And it's not easy to find. So what's needed? We are waiting and relying on you. Thank you.
May I? There's a website that you can check out. It's called Get NEDs, so Get Non-Executive Directors. And I haven't been on it for ages, but you might be able to find some suitable women for the board over there. But to answer your question, women should just go and take it.
Yeah. Thank you.
There are certain parameters which I have recently come across, and I've recently also cleared the independent board of directors qualifications. So I will be on the empanelment of that, and I will be able to take up the role of independent directors on any of the company's board, and happy to be there. And yeah, so women should keep on taking up such roles, keep on achieving such skills and talents for them to be out there, to be noticed out there, and to be heard out there. Not just heard, but listened out there.
Yeah, if I
Can I say comment, my dear? I think part of the law and part of governance, as our fellow said, to have women on board. This is very good and it's done from the top. But also the companies itself have to encourage and to be eager to teach the women how to be qualified to be as a board member. Because you will have some objections. No, women cannot do this. No, women cannot do that. We have qualified. We have good women, but if they need more qualifications, we have to give them some certifications, some workshop in order to be helpful in this regard and to be from tech, from finance, from legal perspective, from any part of perspective, to sit on the board. Because we will have diversity. We will have good, confident, strong women eager to learn. We women are eager to learn. We like to learn more and more every day. Because of that, we came here.
So I believe that we could probably go on for another 40 minutes on this topic. So it would be lovely if we could finish that discussion after this. I think we just have
sure.
One more question.
Yes, one last. Go ahead, sir.
So the cost for climbing the corporate ladder or any profession for that matter.
Could you just speak a little bit more?
The cost for climbing the corporate ladder or climbing up in any profession as a man is going to be sacrificing time with your family. Are women today ready to sacrifice time with their family? Are they equipped, or do we have systems in place to help them manage both these roles? I would like to hear your comments on how the ecosystem maybe needs to evolve to help women climb the corporate ladder.
So actually, this is something that I wanted us to be able to discuss today. And so I'm glad that you brought that to light. I think actually, just by chance of COVID, it's created that space for there to be a better work-life balance, a lot more working from home. And then once we went through COVID and business was continuing, I think it was a lesson to a lot of corporations that, that balance can be, in place. And I love the word that you say about sacrifice and compromise. And before I let you guys answer that, I want to just highlight that it's important if a company or a corporation is going to encourage, this flexibility, they need to really, really encourage it and actually show that it's okay. Otherwise, you're going to have women that will want to sacrifice and compromise. They can handle that on the family point of view. But if they actually say to work, no, today I need to do this, and they get pushback, or they feel as though they don't have job security as a result, we'll never really get to move forward in that aspect.
I think from legal perspective, especially labor law, are now enhanced and changed. There is hybrid, you can sometimes flexibility from home, sometimes from workplace. There is part-time jobs, there is several types of jobs. So the labor and several laws and regulations are now enhancing and developing to empower women and encourage it to be more on board, be more in workplace, because we need flexibility. The woman is your wife, the woman is your sister, she's your daughter, she's your mother, she's your grandma. So you have to empower her. You have to give her flexibility, especially at workplace, because she is very commitment, follow-up person. And she's raising your children in the same time.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So I think we can continue this after the panel.
Continue it all day.
I'd just like to thank you all. Just to recap on our speakers again today, we've had Rawan, Abdel, Nour, we've had Shruti, Jobanputra, and Henzie, Healley. And thank you so much for your time today. My name is Rebecca Hall, and have a great afternoon, guys.
Fantastic panel. Thank you very much, ladies. Such a great influence on young ladies. Thank you. Yes, let us pose for a group photo. That was indeed a fantastic question on building a more friendly ecosystem for increased flexibility for women, working women, and managing their work-life balance with home and the family. Great. Great question. Thank you very much once again, ladies. That was fantastic. All right, we are now headed for lunch and reconvening here in 1 hour, so at 1:30. Thank you very much. I'll see you soon.